Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. A couple people have asked me to do a video just talking about some things newer players need to get away from, bad habits, things like that. And while I am no expert at the game, as those of you who follow the channel do know by now, I'm a sergeant. I can offer what modest advice that I have the capacity to provide. So we're taking a look at a game that I did recently against a fellow named Sarek, and this is his deployment. And the game is very lopsided. I will admit I did not look at stats beforehand, and I did afterward. I think the fellow had something like 20 games down, and it was a USA motorized? I'm not sure the specialization, but yeah, so right off the bat we can see this is Conquest. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 command vehicles. Probable intention is to cap Hotel, Alpha, Bravo, and Delta, on the assumption, given the map layout, that I'd probably do the same, which is a relatively easy assumption to make. This basin sort of looks like the red 4 players zone, and the top end kind of looks like the blue 4 players zone, if you're into that sort of sectioning things off. And, well, it's Conquest. You need to control these points, so why not start off with that right off the bat? And the reason is you don't have enough troops on the ground. This was a 1,000 point opener, and that's 400 some. Yeah, 400 exactly, bound up in command vehicles right off the bat, which is never, ever, ever a good thing. He does get stuff rolling decently quickly on the side, which is okay, but yeah, actually no real complaints about that. I mean, this is going to be slow, mechanized moving across open ground, but we've talked about CVs, now let's talk about a couple other things. We do also have, well, let's pause for just a second. We have quad-stacked infantry cheap riflemen in M11 3A1s, and we have 6 of them. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that it's rare that 6 of these will do a job any better than 2 to 4, maybe tops. Another one over here as well. You need specialized infantry over here. You need maybe a man-pads team or more fire support, a light tank for woods fighting, that kind of thing. And the opener toward Gulf has not much of anything. Now, people do helicopter openers with USA. I mean, you can get a DAP, you can get things like that. And a DAP certainly would have been a nasty surprise for my Salamandra, which itself has its own problems with that opening, but a double stack of Cobras, let's take a look at this, because this is a hard habit to break. It's a habit that I had as well. Double stacking something that doesn't need it in a situation that doesn't need it. So these guys, 50% accuracy, 35 stabilizer, 15 AP. They're meant to take down transports, mid-range IFVs, things like that, not heavy tanks. And you know, they're also good fire support against infantry with the Hydra rocket pods and the Vulcan cannon, but they're not anti-helicopter. They don't have protection in this opening of their own. I mean, the Salamander's only protection is the fact that he's a recon, but that's an advantage the Cobra does not have. So I start moving back just because I'm not sure what that is, and I was expecting a DAP, but I mean, everything else is really far behind. There's a Patton, there's a Vulcan, nothing motorized is going toward Gulf, there's no heavy tank going toward Gulf. And really, I think that the key point here is, I think this player wanted to cover the basics. And he covered the basics so hard that there wasn't anything left to you know, round out the force, right? So we have 2 tanks, we have some AA. Okay, that's, I guess, the basics. But where's your recon? Where's your heavy tank? Where's your super heavy? Where's your flexibility with this force? What's the plan to handle the town and things like that? And thinking through the map is something that takes a lot of time, takes a lot of experience, and things I'm still learning as well. And yeah, it really can be a very hard thing to learn. Another thing too is I immediately saw, so because of the Salamandra, I did see where he parked his command vehicle. Obvious command vehicle placements is another hard habit you have to break. This is the primo spot for just easy short trip, right? The issue with it is, if you have a command vehicle headed up toward here, it's very easy to spot it. This is a trick I've done before, and it usually works, where if you have the Salamander go up, even if it dies, I can often see a command vehicle. You'll see it going in here, you'll see it going in there, and then just count the time off and, well, wait for it to stop, right? So I sent a Hawk 51 bomber over and across lengthwise to hit it. Now, I mean, this was kind of stupid, I should have gone the other way, but you know, I knew where it was. Even if my Hawk dies and I have to get another, that's fine. It's still worth it. Why not, right? And if we take a comparative look here, I mean, I have Terramustis, Charioteers, ZSUs, lots of Kartenjägeri and Iroquois-Jägeri that are about to make a dash up this side, trying to do something kind of unexpected, and the Charioteers can guard this side at least good enough to handle what's coming down for right now. Salamander kills the Pattons and is going to pick off, I think one of the Vulcans as well is gone. Yeah, down to 2. And this is something I do as well. It's a bit of a panic buy, right? So either it was a panic buy or he had it at the start, and in neither case is it actually doing anything right now, right? I'm tempted to say he had it at the start just because of the dearth of other equipment. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with there's nothing a quad stack would do that 2 or 4 tops wouldn't. That quad stack there and the other riflemen on this side are getting absolutely mulched by Terramusties, KRKKs, and Cartinieri, and they've done a nominal amount of damage to Cartinieri, but a little bit of fire support here, some 30-40 point tanks, or heavier vehicles, or even a Bradley or two, with some better infantry up this side would hold off much better, even if it was, you know, one here, one there. So, I mean, the concave idea was present, it just wasn't present in a form that could provide the sort of fire support necessary, and so this becomes a bit of a rush riflemen can't stop, right? And that's a hard thing to shake, because you want to have everything covered, especially early on learning the game. You want to have troops everywhere, and the immediate response is another quad stack of mechanized infantry. One, these are going to take forever to get there. That's not the end of the world in a long, drawn-out game, but this is a crisis, because he has 2 IHawks here, they're very expensive. He has 2 command vehicles back in Alpha, one that was probably headed up to Bravo. This demands a fast response. It demands the points that were used for that ASF to be used as a bomber, which would have really ruined my day. Or it demands motorized infantry that can get there quickly, maybe even paratroopers that can touch down behind this set of woods and then move forward using the attack helicopters they rode in on, which USA does have access to, I think, a couple that are worthwhile, to provide fire support around the sides. That would at least provide a way to get rid of the Cartinieri. Sergei Mod wouldn't last through all that, right? And probably would have died earlier on if there was any sort of armored resistance. And now you can see this game is over, right? So what about all those command vehicles? One of them's dead, 2 of them are over here. They're going to get shot shortly by KRKKs and the Sergei, and it wasn't really worthwhile, which is... I've done this exact thing. I've been in this player's shoes. It's why I'm showing it from his side of the field, as I've been there. And I think many people, when they pick up the game at the first time, probably have been. So learn from it. Try to do things in a more balanced way. Have a good unified response, and use the assets that your faction gives you. Don't just jam one unit at the problem hoping that it'll fix it, because it really won't. You'll think it will. It won't, nearly any time. There's isolated cases where opposing troops unsupported might be hard countered by a single unit. But even then, your hard counter is going to get bombed or shot or something else like that immediately thereafter. So even in those cases, you're better off sending a balanced force. Right? This is something that you can see here. The ZSU and the Sergei were able to fend off those Cobras, or at least nearly. I think the next round off the Sergei should be able to kill him before they can fire again. Yeah, there it is. And this guy, I mean, that's 30 points. The ZSU is 20 points. And they provide so much flexibility here. It really is kind of just vital, I'd say. It's necessary. The other thing, too, is not really something that can be done about at this point, but just trying to use the edges. My Sokol's over here, Pion's over here. We've shot down a couple of helicopters that were headed over to support, because I'm a mean bastard who used a W3W Sokol to its best effect, but that is going to be pretty much all she wrote. I mean, these guys, they're driving in to die, and a single heavy tank in this wood line would really cause trouble. It would kill the Terramusties, 1 shot each. The Charioteers don't have that much armor to speak of. 5 is okay, but anything in the 90 or so point range, single tank back there, would have crushed this. And then with that fire support, you can advance. And let's, just before you think I'm talking out of my ass here, look at this. That's 40 points for each one of these stacks. There were 3 of them. That's 120 points plus 60 for the vehicles. So it's 180 points. That could be a 100 point tank and some screening infantry. And there you go. Crisis averted. As it happened, though, because Hotel kind of got blown through, an XA-180 is going to get all the way through to the CP, damaged one at that, and that's going to be all she wrote. So, pretty lopsided game, and not one that I would say was really fun to play for either of us, I think. Which is why I'm making the video, because not every game is that adrenaline pumping... sorry. Adrenaline pumping knockdown drag out fight that I think lots of players really kind of live for, and helping people to get past that first moment where they get stomped by someone as heartless as me, and probably far better at the game, is, I think, a nice way to encourage people to keep playing and to have a good time. So, Sarek, I hope you see it, and I hope you don't take it too hard. Hope to see you around, and if you have any questions, there are lots of people you can ask to get some tips. So, thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.